And once again, I'm Mark Wilson from Wiskybilt, here to show you the installation of the Rider's Rest hammock. We're going to move on to part 3. We just finished up part 2, which was installing the front bracket and finished bolting up the floorboard. We need some Loctite. I used the blue 3/4 inch open-end box end, Phillips screwdriver, T40 Torx bit with a 3/8 ratchet and extension, a 1/2 inch open-end box end wrench, and the parts we're going to be using out of the kit are these 2 big 1/2 inch fine thread bolts, and they both have a lock washer that goes with them, and these 2 plates that's going to help hold the back bracket on. We're going to start by taking these here bolts out. We're not going to take these bolts off. All we're going to do is just take the nuts off of them. I've already broke these loose ahead of time, and in fact the other side I took all the bolts already out. Just wanted to show you what we needed to do here. So we got those 2. Then there's 2 on the side up here which you need to take off. They go to these here rails right here. So we'll take them off. And we're going to reuse these bolts. Well, we're going to put Loctite on too. So like I said, I already had them loose, so it didn't take me too long to get them out. All right. These 2 bolts on both sides, just leave them in the bike. And then we're going to take these plates, and if you look at the way it is, we're going to put the hole towards the tire. Put a little Loctite on here on these bolts. Now these here 2 bolts on the bottom especially, they already have a locking nut on them, but I put some Loctite on there anyway. And the same way with all the hardware that we're putting back on the bike. We'll put a little dab on there. And these bolts. And as well, the bolts on the other side. So go ahead and put some Loctite on these. You don't have to get carried away with it. Okay. Now, like me, I'm sure all you guys have a buddy that's willing to come over. And some of them might make you buy the beer, and if you get lucky, you might even find one that don't even drink, and get by a little cheaper. So I call my buddy Jim in here. He's going to give me a hand. Now don't tighten these all the way down, just snug them up. And there's a reason why I didn't pull them bolts out. It's because whenever you get ready to put this thing on there, it's hard to get them. It's hard to get them on there once you get that bracket up in place. You end up having to put the bolt through the other way. Now what we need to do is slide this bracket up in there, and it mounts on there same as a regular trailer hitch. Anybody that has a trailer hitch on their bike knows how these things go on. You can't use a normal trailer hitch, however, because the way that the hammock mounts to this, it's important that you use this hitch. I've had people ask me, well, hey, can I just buy everything but the hitch? Well, no, you can't, because it doesn't mount. The hammock won't mount on the hitch the way this does. So now we've got to line these bolts up on the side here. We'll put them back in. And Jim, can you do me a favor and hand me that Phillips screwdriver over there? I'll use this Phillips screwdriver to help line these holes up for me. Kind of, it's sort of like using a punch. Kind of gotta get things into position there. And get your bolt started. As soon as you feel it start to thread in there straight, then you want to stop and move on to the next hole. For some reason his is riding against his light there. Okay, he's looking at the wrong hole. That's all right. Now we'll go to the other side and get it started. Sometimes it helps to look in the hole first before you try to stick the bolt in there. Just hold my screwdriver in place for me there, Jim. Okay, so that's how we're going to bolt that on, and then finish tightening up all your bolts down here on the bottom, including that 3/4 inch wrench, and that'll take care of the installation of the rear hitch part of it. That'll conclude part 3.